this morning, please accept my apology. I will give you the altar call and I can present Christ to you at that time. But right now, it's time for me to motivate the believer.
All right.
Chapter 18, Isaiah chapter 40, verse 18. Isaiah starts off by asking, who will we compare to God? Understand the true mercy of God, the true grace of God, and the true deity of God. For God is one that has so much power. He's so big. He's so wide. He's so low. He's so high. You understand how the senior saints used to put it together. They would say, he's so high that we can't go over. He's so low that we can't go under. He's so wide that we can't go around him. God is one that is the Greek word ex nihilo. He comes from nowhere. He's a God that just was. Before earth started, he was. And when earth will end, he will be. He is a God of ex nihilo. Every time we go out and we look at the trees, we see something that is called God's kabah. In other words, it is God's reputation. When you look to the south and you see South Mountain, you are viewing God's reputation. When you look towards Scottsdale and you see Camelback Mountain, you see God's reputation. God is a God all by himself. Nobody, no person, no thing, no deity can compare to the power and the glory that God has. So Isaiah asked the question, who will liken to God? Who will stand next to God? Who has the power to present themselves in the realm of God? He says that there is a workman, and the workman will work with the gold, and he will put together an image and a graven idol, and it won't compare to God. He says that there is a person that is poor. They don't have very much money, and even they will grab wood and they will begin to carve and put together a sculpture. And the Message version says to make sure that the sculpture is very true in its foundation so that it won't fall. But even that image made under wood does not compare to God. Isaiah says, have ye not heard, and have ye not known, and hath it not been told from the very beginning, and understand from the foundations of the earth that it is God that sitteth high. He sits high and he looks low. The scripture says that in comparison to God, we are simply a grasshopper. The Message version says in comparison to God, we are simply an ant. He says, who can compare? For even the princes cannot compare. I want to let somebody know that the government does not have rule over nothing. For God has ruled over everything. I don't care if you are a Democrat or a Republican. I pray that you are a believer. Because when it's all said and done, power belongs to God. He says, for we are the ones that are the army of the Lord. And that he knows each one of us by name. And that he does not even forget. Can you imagine standing over an army of ants and remembering the name of each one and never forgetting? The Message version says that he knows even the stars that shine at night and knows them and names them one by one. He said, to whom then will ye liken to me? Or shall I be equal? He says, lift up your eyes. We have a sense of complaining. We like to complain a whole lot. We look at our situation, we look at our bank account, and we look at our bills, and we begin to complain as if we don't even know the God we serve. But I want to tell somebody that the God we serve is bigger than any bill, bigger than any account, bigger than any storm, bigger than any trial, bigger than any situation. We serve an awesome God. He says, oh Jacob, oh Israel, my way is hid from the Lord, and the judgment passed over from my God. But here's where we celebrate. He says he giveth power to the faint. And to them that have no might, he increases strength. So that should cover everybody. I want to preach to the one that he's going to give power to the faint. Because there was a season when you were strong. There was a season when they could call you to pray. There was a season when you did have money. There was a season when you had the good job. But seemingly life happened. And things went topsy-turvy. Storms began to flow. The billows came and they rocked your ship. But I want to tell you that he is a God that giveth power to the faint. He says, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and to them and the young men shall utterly fall. In other words, those that we expect to be strong will be the ones that will fall. In other words, when you see a man that is 70 and you see a man that is 25, you expect a man that is 25 to outwork the man that is 70. But seemingly in the last days, seem like the one that's opening the church, the one that's coming to the prayer meeting, the one that's giving you time, are falling all around us. The ones that we expect to progress, the ones that we expect to move forward, are the ones that are falling. But I want to let you know that in this last season, in 2013, that there is a remnant that God is raising. And you're seemingly outward to where you're losing hope, you're losing faith, you're losing ground. But can I preach? Those of you that will wait upon the Lord, he will renew your strength. He will mount you up, not on wings of a little spirit, not on wings of a blackbird, but on the wings of an eagle. You will run and not be weary, walk and not faint. Touch your neighbor and say, neighbor, the day of your fainting is just about over. God is getting ready to revive you. God is getting ready to push you forward. God is getting ready to bring you back. He's going to bring you back when you first got saved. He's going to bring you back when you first got anointed. He will renew your strength. Come on and clap your hands. I want us to go give you a minute just to get the rest of life. We'll make it through. I'm reminded of that eagle bird that the scripture talks of. That bird is such a powerful bird, but even in its might, even in its glory, even in its majesty, it comes to a point to where even it gets weak. But what I learned about the bird that is called the eagle, the reason why that it gets weak is because all feathers begin to collect on its back. I want to preach to somebody who has let old things begin to stack up on your back. They've been told you will never be nothing. Been told you wouldn't amount to anything. Been laughed at in school. situations are all over your family. Situation when you get to work. Situation when you get to school. When I count to three, do me a favor. Even if you still got a few things that you're dealing with today, at least fake it till you make it. At least let the devil know that there's still a little fight in you. When I count to three, let out a holler for renewed strength. One, when I count to three, let out a holler for a new praise. Two, when I count to three, scream because your situation is looking different. Three. That would have been good. That would have been good if your devil was big enough to contain in the church. All right. But the devil some of y'all are facing is towering over your situation. And he's standing so close to you till you can't even see God. I want you to holler until God reveals himself concerning you. 1, 2, 3. I'm going hot. What's that evil hot? He backs up on that cliff. He takes about 5 steps and he starts